Thank you so much, Robert, for your time, and good afternoon to you. It is a busy time for you this year. Just talk to us about the various contingency measures you have ahead of the festive season, and more importantly, the resources to support these. Of course, it is important to know that your services also include fire management, ambulance, as well as hospital services.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to the viewers. Yes, as the City of Johannesburg Emergency Management Services, we are in a state of preparedness for the December 2024 to January 2025 festive season. We have got enough boots on the ground. Most of our members, they didn't get a chance to go on leave, with the reason to make sure that we've got enough boots on the ground to be able to respond to emergencies which might occur, and also other events which might be happening within the City of Johannesburg. As we know that during the festive season, there are a number of events which are mostly approved by our Joint Operations Committee, which is the city's job, of which most of our fire safety officers plays an integral part of those inspections in terms of those events. So from our side, we've got all our specialized units, which ranges from our aquatic rescue unit, which is a unit which responds to water-related emergencies. We are aware right now that we've got a lot of rainfall. So this team is a specialized team which responds to water-related emergencies. Our urban search and rescue unit, which responds mostly to structural collapse or building collapse, and also, of course, our operations unit, which is mostly our various units which responds to our day-to-day emergencies, be it motor vehicle accidents and any other emergencies which might occur throughout the City of Johannesburg.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers, Robert, I mean, one can say that you are receiving a number of calls throughout the year, but it intensifies during this year. I want to look at some of those sectors that you were talking about individually, if I can. And perhaps let's start with, inclement weather. We've seen, as you've also touched on, weather conditions in Joburg, particularly during this time where we have a number of cases of flooding, especially in your low-lying areas. Are you well capacitated when it comes to that? What are some of the areas that you are looking at in terms of, incidents of flooding?
Yes, we do have a number of, hotspots in the city. Mostly will be our residents who are staying in our low-lying areas. Mostly it will be our vulnerable communities who are mostly in our informal settlements, of which we have done well throughout the year in terms of empowering them with the necessary skills to be able to deal with emergencies as and when they occur in those areas. I mean, you're looking at areas like Alexander, Diepsloot, Kayasand, Kliptown, and the other areas. So we've done a lot of work in terms of public education in those areas, making sure that we've got community emergency response teams or people who are trained in terms of disaster preparedness in those areas, who can be able to assist to evacuate people as and when there's flooding incidents. We all know that in the City of Johannesburg, during the festive season or December holidays, we normally receive a lot of rainfalls. That brings into most of our river streams water levels being much more higher than before. And most of our faith-based organizations are tempted to visit these kind of areas to conduct things like cleansing or baptism rituals, of which we have seen in the past, in the previous years, where a number of people have lost their lives when they were conducting these baptism rituals. So from our side, we've done a lot of work in terms of conducting our public education programs or community outreach programs, where we were working together with these faith-based organizations like traditional healers, prophets, and pastors to ensure that they ensure safety of the congregants when conducting these kind of rituals. We also have our preparedness in terms of our aquatic rescue units, our rescue technicians, or our water-related technicians who are mostly responding to water-related emergencies are ready to deal with this kind of emergency. So from our side, we think in terms of prevention, we've done a lot of public education. So we're hoping that right now it will be the time for our residents to ensure that they exercise those necessary skills which we have, presented to them throughout the year to ensure that we have, we prevent incidents which might occur, be it a drowning, fire, or any other emergencies which might occur during this festive season.
I mean, in terms of just the education around some of these disasters, including fires, I would recall reading that on average you are called about 17 or 20 times a day or something along those lines. I would imagine you're also keeping a close eye, particularly on abandoned buildings in the city centre. We've seen numerous fires there, in Johannesburg specifically, in these buildings. How concerned are you about certain areas in the inner city?
Yes, we're through our proactive services, our fire safety unit, we have done a lot of work in terms of inspecting those buildings, ensuring that through our public education unit, which is a peer unit, to educate the residents about the importance of them complying, understanding, the fire safety measures, what is it that they can do in case of emergencies. So, and of course, ensuring that there's compliance in terms of the bylaws. Because we cannot really continue to do education without the enforcement of those bylaws. As I mentioned earlier on, there will be a lot of operations which we'll conduct jointly with our colleagues from JMPD and other cities departments, just to ensure that our residents enjoy this festive season safely, and in the process will prevent any other incidents which might occur. So a lot of our residents will be seeing a lot of us throughout the festive season, through our public education unit, visiting the various malls, shopping centers, to educate our residents and communities about safety in general, just to ensure that our residents are safe. And of course, as we move in towards the new year, we will have to make sure that there's compliance, because you will know that there is a lot of activities which are conducted towards the celebration of the new year, where our residents might be using fireworks. The City of Johannesburg has got regulations which regulate the safe use of fireworks, and of course the people who are supposed to sell, like be it dealers or wholesalers or distributors, of which they're supposed to comply with the South African Police Service Explosive Act 15 of 2003, and of course they are supposed to have a clearance certificate which is coming from the chief fire officer. So we'll be conducting those bylaws enforcement operation with the main aim of not really harassing people, but just to make sure that there's compliance and people are adhering to the fire service bylaws. For instance, our residents by now, they are aware that the fireworks, they can only use them an hour before midnight and also an hour after midnight. So that will be between 11 and 1. And after that, they cannot continue igniting the fireworks. And of course, they need to ensure that they don't use fireworks next to animals and, filling stations or areas which hospitals and things like that. So from our side, we will be conducting those operations just to ensure that there is safe, not forgetting to respond to other emergencies which might occur throughout the city of Johannesburg.
Well, thanks, Robert. It does sound like you are prepared for this festive season. Hopefully everybody does comply. Really appreciate your time. Robert Mulaudzi for us, just talking about the preparedness of the City of Johannesburg's Emergency Management Service during this festive season.